We are on the last page of 2.2b normal distribution. So the first thing we want to look at is what type of questions we will see. So one of them, you'll be given a value and asked the percent. So we would need to, number one, draw and shade two pictures, label value, mean, and standard deviation. So I did that in blue. In mean and standard deviation, you label the picture and you also shade in the direction that it needs to be shaded. And then the second picture is in red. You would want to standardize it. So you have normal 0, 1. You have 0 is our mean, it's right in the middle, and then z is wherever that value lies in relation to 0. And you would also need a shade. So in order to find what the z-score is, you would need to use the formula value minus mean over standard deviation. Once you find the z-score, you can put it on the red bell curve right there. Okay, step 3 is to find the corresponding percent. So we have looked at the table a little bit, but we're going to focus on technology. So you will use norm CDF in the calculator, and we'll also use Desmos. But right now, let's focus on the calculator. So area below is in red. You would shade below going left. So our lower bound is negative 1e99. That could also be negative infinity because it goes on and on forever out here. And it just keeps getting smaller and smaller. Okay. So your upper bound is going to be z. Then your mean and standard deviation are standardized. So mean is 0, standard deviation is 1. Now in blue is we are finding the area above. You shade above. And then your lower value is z. Upper value, you could put it at 1,000 because it goes on and on forever, but you don't need to do huge numbers if you don't need to. And then mean is 0 and sigma is 1. Okay, now in pink is area between. So if we want to look at the area between two z-scores, then we would shade between, and our lower bound would be the first z on the left, and our upper bound would be our second z on the right. And in the calculator, the technology is you would go to norm CDF, put in your lower, upper, mean 0, and standard deviation is 1. So that's the first type of question you'll see. The second type of question is you're given a percent and asked for a value. So you're going to draw and shade, draw, label, shade two pictures. So just like the last one, so I drew a little arrow. One with what you're given and one with the standard deviation and mean of the actual problem with the context. So you are going to find the value in the calculator. The way we find the calculator, the value in the calculator is using inverse norm. You are going to match the percent to a z-score and check the sign. So below is going to be a negative z, above is going to be a positive z. Once you find that value, you're going to plug in the values that you know. So you're going to know the z, you're going to know the mean and standard deviation. So all you're going to be looking for is this value right here. So you just need to do a little algebra. So we'd multiply both sides by the standard deviation and then add the mean. So just a little reminder for your tech, we're going to use inverse norm. We have area, mean, standard deviation, and then you choose the tail. So it's left if it's area below, center if it is between two z-scores, or right if it's the tail on the right. Okay, so let's look at the two application problems. According to an article on africageographic.com, there are many unexpected uses for elephant waste. But how much waste do elephants produce per day? Studies show that the distribution of waste produced by elephants is modeled by a normal distribution, a mean of 250, standard deviation of 21. A. What percent of adult elephants produce at least 300 pounds of waste in a day? Okay, so we are asked for what percent. So we are going to use the number 1. So value to percent. So step 1, draw and shade 2 pictures. Label as well. So I do need to label it. So 250, standard deviation of 21. Okay, so I know this is 250. So what percent of adults produce at least 300? So at least would be at 300 or greater. So we're going to shade this way. Okay. They also want us to do the normal. So 0, and then our z is going to be here. We've got to find out what that z is. So we can write this as n, 0, 1. So to find the z, we're going to convert using the formula. Value minus mean over standard deviation. So the value is 300 minus the mean over standard deviation. Okay, 2.381. Wherever you put it in the calculator. Okay, so that's what that z-score. So I can go ahead and write it on my picture as well, on my drawing. Okay, and so then we are finding area above. So we are going to do the norm CDF. Our lower is going to be our z-score, 2.381. Our upper is infinity, so we can put 1,000 for simplicity. Our mean is 0, and standard deviation is 1. So let's see. Okay, so second bars. Oh, I need to get out of there. Quit. Second bar, second distribute, normal CDF. Okay, mine gives it to me a little different, but I can still do this. 2.381, comma, 1,000, comma, 0, comma, 1. Okay, so then the proportion or percent is 0.0086. And so that goes to 0.86%. And if you did 2.4, that would be also that'd be fine as well if you rounded. Okay. So just make sure we answer the question. The question asks, what percent of adult elephants produce at least 300 pounds of waste per day? So 0.86, so less than 1% produce at least 300 pounds of waste per day. Okay, let's look at B. Go ahead and read that. Okay, so it gives us the 10th percentile. So it gives us the percent. So 0.10 is what it gave us. So let's write, oh, that was pretty rough. There we go. Okay, so it's in 250, 21. And then we got to remember what percentile means. It means at that percent or less. So we're shade to the left. So this area is 0.10. So we don't know the z, we don't know the value, but we do know that this is 250. So we know it's below, so our z is going to be negative. Okay, so let's do the standardized normal. So n is 0, 1. 0. So I know this is some z, and it's shaded. This is still 0.10. Okay, so we are using the right side of our instructions up here. Draw and label 2 pictures, already did it. Find the value in the calculator using inverse norm. So we're going to do inverse norm. And my calculator on here might be a little different. Let me see. It is going to be number 3. So it requires me to put it in like this. So 0.10, 0, and 1. And the thing with my calculator on here is it's going to do area to the left, which works out fine for this problem. But if we had shaded area to the right, we'd have to subtract it from 1. Okay, so our z using inverse norm, well, let's write area is 0.10, mean is 0, sigma is 1. So our z is negative 1.28. Okay, so that is what goes here, negative 1.28. So now we've got to find out what this value is. So we've got to convert the value from the z-score to a value. So we're going to use the formula where we have the z-score equals the value minus the mean over standard deviation. So you multiply by 21. So I'm going to do that here, negative 1.28 times 21. And then you would add the 250 if you're just doing your algebra. I'm not going to write too much here. 223.12 is what our value is. So that is what this is, 223.12. Okay, so is that our answer? Well, let's check. It says, if the amount of waste produced by an elephant on a given day is 10th percentile of the distribution, how much money will the zoo make? Oh, do you remember seeing this? $5 per pound. So that means we need to multiply this times 5. So times 5, 1,115.6. Well, it's dealing with money, so make sure you make it look like money. Okay, so we have completed it. Make sure you always go back and read what it's asking for so you make sure you get all of your points.